Hello, this is Olivirus, also known as the Blind Warrior Gamer, coming to you today with a review. This is a review of a game that I wanted to do for some time now and have been recently given permission to go ahead and proceed with that review. Today I bring you a game created by Frogster of America called Runes of Magic, a massively multiplayer online role-playing game that is set in the land of Tyboria. Runes of Magic is a game filled with many different races and mystical creatures. In the game, however, you are allowed to play one of two races. You can either play as the humans or the elves. You also have the option of being male or female, depending on how you want your character to look. Each of the two races have four base character classes: the warrior, the scout, the rogue, and the mage. Then each race has two additional classes that are specific to that race. For the humans, you have the priest and the knight. And if you choose to be an elf, you have the warder or the druid. Along with your races and your classes, you have the availability to customize your character further, changing everything from your skin and hair color to your body type, including your muscle build, breast size, hand and foot size, height, and even the size of your head. Now we're going to take a precursory look at your character. In the character pane, you have the ability to see all of your stats and all of the equipment that your character can wear. Everything from your armor to earrings, necklaces, and rings, to trinkets, and even your sword and shield. You even have the availability that at the click of a button, if you don't want to see a certain piece of item on your character's body, you just click the check mark, and that piece of item will disappear from your character so that you no longer see it equipped. Along with the character screen, you have to go hand in hand with your inventory. Your inventory starts out relatively large, and you can see everything from the amount of gold you have to what items are in your inventory, your diamonds and your rubies, along with some other options to sort and organize your inventory. You also have the availability to change the bag slots. You are allowed to have up to 6 bag slots. However, any bag slots after 2 will require you to cash up or buy those slots. Of course, what is a character without talents? In the game, you are able to acquire talents as you level. You don't have to go and see a trainer to acquire these talents. And then as you level and get these talents, you then have the availability to level the talent itself. When killing monsters or completing quests, you're given something called talent points. These talent points are then used to enhance your character's skills and abilities, making them more stronger. You have the ability to also choose how you want your character to be set up, whether you want to be a tank, a DPS, a healer, or even just a ranged caster. One of the other functions in this game is that you can be multiple classes at one time. You can be a knight and a warrior, you can be a warrior and a priest, so on and so forth. By having that secondary class, you then absorb and obtain the abilities of that second class and can use them alongside with your primary class, meaning you can be a knight or a tank that has the ability to heal himself, making him in other games that of a paladin. To go along with those skills, you have other skills, such as professions, to be able to cook, create and repair weapons and armor, do crafting and build furniture or wood weapons, or even to create potions to heal and enhance your character. In this game, you are allowed to be all professions at one time. You can be a tailor, a blacksmith, an armor crafter, a wood crafter, and then also be able to gather all of those resources, such as herbalism, mining, and wood chopping. Don't feel like having to farm those items on your own? That's fine. You have the availability to capture a pet using a hunter's trap. Once you've captured the pet, you can then name the pet and then train the pet. These pets can be trained to also do all of your gathering for you. So while you're out and about questing, you can hand your pet some tools and they will go off into the world and gather and collect your materials for you and then put them in your inventory. When they're done, you can then call them back to you and they will even fight at your side. As you look at the game, the interface is very similar to that of other MMOs, in particular World of Warcraft. In the top right-hand corner, you have your map. At the bottom, you have your command or action bars, as well as your chat bars and your experience bar. In the top left, you have your unit frame, where you can see your life, your rage, mana, or energy, and also see your opponent's life and mana and energy. One of the other functions of the UI is your quest log. It is almost exactly the same as the quest log in World of Warcraft with some additional features, such as the ability to click on a person's name and it will then provide you information of that person or allow you to set it up to auto-follow or give you an arrow that will point you into the direction of that thing that you are looking for. In a robust game, this also has one additional feature that other games do not. You have a home. Yes, a residence where your character can live and breathe, allowing you to place in furniture, to customize the look of the home, and even provide you with additional character attributes. If you look at the top left-hand corner of the screen, you will see that I have a list of attributes that are enhanced because of the furniture that I have. Currently, I have an experience point and a talent point or TP point bonus. I also have energy, which will allow me to increase the amount of storage that I have in my home. However, the more space that I have for furniture allotted to me, the more energy that will be consumed per day. The only way to replenish that energy is to purchase it with diamonds. Also note that your home can be expanded upon, which also can in some cases cost you energy or may be purchased by diamonds, allowing you to go from a small home that you start with to a large 2-floor house with a basement that you can fill full of different furnitures and items to help your character and give you further enhancement, including crafting bonuses to enhance your ability to make and create items. Now that we're out in the world, let's go ahead and discuss the graphics. As you look at the game has very nice graphics. It is very well done. The artwork has a lot of detail, a lot of attention put into it, at least from what I can tell. Of course, you all probably have better eyesight than I do, so you can judge for yourself. But the coloring is very vivid, and there is a lot to see and to look at. One thing, though, that you will notice is lag. This game has a little bit of a plague. Plague is that it does not seem to like to work very well even with high-end hardware. The current system that this review is being done on has a quad-core processor, 8 gigs of RAM, and a new video card that has 2 gigs of video memory on board. And even with all of that at 1920 by 1080 or 1080p, when you're in town, you will lose frame rate, dropping as low as 10 frames per second at times. This is a very big problem for older computers, as if you have an old Core 2 Duo or Athlon 64X2, you may not be able to play the game unless you have a stronger video card. If you are using an old Intel Express chipset, or maybe an X200, or a low-end NVIDIA 5200, you may not be able to run this game at all. I have seen computers drop down to as low as 3 frames per second, making it virtually unplayable. Character movement in the game is fairly nice. You have the availability to use ASDW, just like in other MMOs, Q and E to do some additional movement. The controls are completely customizable, and you can also use your mouse to click to move, such as in other MMOs or games like Diablo. Now, I play a lot of different MMO video games, such as Final Fantasy XI and World of Warcraft. One feature that I wish these games had, especially because of my lack of eyesight, is the Auto Move To feature. In this game, you can right-click on a person that may be highlighted on a map as a quest giver or a quest receiver, or on an area of the map that you want to move to, and just click. And if there is the availability and the path for your character to run there without obstacles in the way, he will proceed to run there without you having to touch the keyboard, giving you the availability to then say, oh, you know what, I need to get up and walk away for a minute and use the bathroom. I'll do that while my character rides to or runs to that location. One of the first questions that many people are going to ask is, in this game, are you allowed to ride and obtain mounts? The answer is a resounding yes. You are able to obtain mounts. You can obtain a mount as early as level 1 as long as you're willing to spend the money to obtain the diamonds to do so. Also throughout the game, as you complete quests, you may be given free rental mounts which can be used for several hours at a time. Once that time frame expands or dissipates, the mount will then disappear from your inventory. But if you wanted a permanent mount, that is available to you from Cash Op. One of the other advantages of some of the mounts is that depending on the type of mount you have, you are able to run on water. Yes, you can skid across water and you will not drop in or sink or swim. One thing that this game does not have, however, is flying mounts. Even though you will see creatures with wings, no, they cannot fly. You don't have the availability to traverse and scale over mountains or obstacles. You need to find a path through the terrain, and in some locations, even a maze to get to where you want to go. The combat in this game is very well done. You have the availability to tab to your targets, and then use the action bar at the bottom to command your attacks in battle. You also can use the mouse click to target and approach your targets. The nice thing is that once you have an enemy targeted, you can automatically move to that target without having to do so with your keyboard, by just hitting the attack button. Your character will then approach and begin striking at that mob. Killing mobs gives you TP and experience points. These experience points and talent points are used to level up your character and level up your abilities. However, you must be careful. Death will penalize you. If you die, you will gain something called experience and talent point debt. This debt has to be repaid before you can gain the full amount of XP per kill or quest turn-in. This also affects your TP or talent points. When you die and you obtain death debt, you have to repay it by 70% of your XP and talent points paying the debt, you only obtaining 25%, which means, in a sense, when you die, you lose experience. As you get further onto the game, the experience debt can get astronomical, reaching sometimes in the millions of experience points and tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of talent points. One thing that this game does have, though, that will help you, in between the levels of 10 and 30, there's an item that you can obtain that is called the Atonement Voucher. This Atonement Voucher can be right-clicked to dissipate or demolish all experience and talent point debt, so that you don't have to pay any of it back. This object is obtained from your newbie pet that you get at the start of the game. However, before level 10, you cannot obtain the voucher because during that time you do not experience death debt. However, also, you can only obtain one voucher per day. You can save them and not use them. However, once you reach level 30, the item becomes useless until you're at a class that is below level 30, or above level 10, or the item becomes unusable. And it will sit in your inventory, so if you wanted to get rid of them, you have to remove them and destroy them yourself by clicking it in your bag and then dropping it into the play area and then typing in the word delete in all caps. One of the other beautiful functions of the game is the friendship and relationship system. You can go ahead and set up your friends list and invite people to be your friend in the game, and to go one step further, if you wanted to spend the gold on it, you can get an item that you trade to someone to make them best friends, lovers, family, or even to become one another's bride or husband. These additional relationships will give you some bonuses from anything from additional life and mana to attack and defense, to even experience and talent point gain if you decide to go into a teacher-student relationship. All in all, I really don't have too many complaints about the game. It's actually a very good game. It has a good fun factor, hundreds to thousands of quests to complete, dungeons and raids, and even a vast PvP system with PvP servers that allow world PvP, battlefield PvP, or siege PvP, where two guilds can pit up against each other in a game of dominance, so that one can provide supremacy over the other to increase the guild and give it additional attributes. Speaking of guilds, being in a guild can be quite helpful. When in a guild, you have the ability to donate items and tokens to the guild to increase the guild's functionality and abilities. You can even go into a guild castle, and at a library inside the guild castle, you can use that to remove any experience that you may have. There's a lot of different functions that you can do as a guild, and it really helps to be in one. The last thing that we're going to talk about, which is most important to the game, is runes. The game is called Runes of Magic, and throughout the game, when you kill monsters, you're going to find different runes. These runes can be used either to help fund a guild or enhance your character's equipment, giving you additional stats, attributes, damage, life, you name it. It is basically a means of enchanting your equipment to enhance your character even though you are not leveling. This is something that's going to be heavily required towards the end of the game, and it will be something that you will do very, very often to increase the ability of your character. If you're looking for a good MMO, and you're having a difficult time finding one that you enjoy, I do strongly recommend that you pick up Runes of Magic. I have spent a lot of time on the game, I've even spent a little bit of money on the game, and I've had a lot of fun with it. The game is very nice, very robust, and has a lot of features that you can work with and explore and experience. The game has a lot of replay value, and is something that you might even insist on making additional characters to go and try other things. The game is free to play. You are not required to spend any money on the game. You can just jump in, have at it, no problem. Doesn't cost anything to download, doesn't cost anything to install, and you don't have to pay to have your account. So if you're looking for that kind of a game, this is probably one of the better ones that are out there that I would strongly recommend. If you have any other questions, please feel free to leave me a comment, subscribe to the page, tell a friend, do whatever you like. I hope you've enjoyed this review. This is Holy Virus, the Blind Warrior Gamer of Blind Warrior Gaming, taking off. Y'all have a good one, and I hope to see you in Tiberius soon.